Okay, people are joining. Let's give it 2 minutes, give people a chance to join in. Okay, everyone, we'll start in 1 minute. Okay, let's get going. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the third in a series of events on Brexit, titled Getting Ready for Brexit. Today, we're going to be talking about standards. First of all, I want to express my gratitude to Mr. Leandro Borch, who's with us today from the EO Coordination Department within the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs, and his team, of course, for their constant collaboration over the past few weeks, making this as big a success as possible. Soon, all of the members of the Chamber are going to be receiving a document at their work address. We'll be highlighting the most important areas of Brexit, including transport, travel, connectivity with the UK, and of course the rights of citizens, both Maltese living in the United Kingdom and British citizens residing in Malta. The document is going to cover topics such as trade and of course the impact of the rules for the import and export of goods and services. With very few weeks remaining to the end of the transition period, I urge operators to take the necessary action and make sure that all is in place. With a no-deal Brexit being a very realistic possibility, we have to make sure that businesses are ready for this drastic change. Today, I'm going to be introducing Mrs. Helen Borch, Director at the Licensing Directorate within the Medicines Authority, and Ingrid Borch, Director at the Technical Regulation Division within Malta Competition and Consumer Affairs Authority. From a technical point of view, I remind those who are watching us from home or their office to make use of the question and answer function on the bottom of your screen for any questions during the whole duration of the event. Please don't put them in chat. From a visual point of view, we ask you to click on speaker rather than gallery view. I remind you that the event is going to be recorded. Over to you, Mr. Borch.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, as Tim has already explained, the aim of these webinars is to give you a good background of what is going on at the moment in the EU-UK negotiations, and most importantly, to give you some more background on these particular areas, 2 areas which are quite specific, and I understand that the attendees today might have some particular interest in these areas. Standards, it's good to know that most of the certification required will need to be redirected. If you're getting certification from the UK, you need to get redirected to another member state. So it's important that you start preparing. We gave information in the document that we have launched about 2 weeks ago, and today we have Ms. Ingrid Borch from the Technical Regulations Division of the authority, and she can explain better what the impact is expected to be, and how we can prepare better. Obviously, you can always get in touch after the webinar, and we can help you further. The chamber is as well making the representatives available to receive such queries, and they can liaise with us, and we can even hold one-to-one meetings if need be. Similarly, Ms. Helen Vella will be talking on the issue of medicines and how this sector is expected to be impacted. This is a very particularly important sector for Malta, and we know that we import a lot of medicines from the UK, and there's expected to be a major impact on our industry. Rest assured that the government and the authority is working tirelessly with both the Commission and some other member states to try to address these concerns. And we hope to have some contingency measures, at least by the end of the transition period, especially to ensure that if there's an OD scenario, we're even covered. And obviously we keep making medicine, the necessary medicines available for our consumers. But I think I can leave it at that, and maybe Ms. Vella and Ms. Borge can elaborate further in their presentations. Thanks.
Would you like to go first, Ms. Vella?
So good afternoon. My name is Helen Vella, and I am licensing director at the Medicines Authority, and I will be focusing on medicinal products. I will share my presentation. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I will explain some of the Brexit implications for the different type of products authorized in Malta, the fora where they are being discussed, and some stakeholder outreach we have carried out to the industry. I will also describe a bit the implications on the different types of licenses, and I will give a small update because this will have an effect on the medicinal products on the Northern Ireland Protocol, and some way forward for the companies to be able to perhaps get in touch with us to try to solve some of the issues prospectively now going forward. So as the companies related to medicines know now, because we have been saying this for the past 3 years, there are certain activities that have to be moved out of the UK and into the EU 27 member states. So basically marketing authorization holder, so the holder of the license, the batch release site, batch testing sites, the EU QPPV and the PSMF location have to be moved from the UK to the EU 27 by the end of the year. For the last 3 years, we have had multiple and targeted communications with marketing authorization holders mainly, and some with the responsible persons for the local distributors to make sure that we are contacting both types of industry. We have had a high engagement from marketing authorization holders, especially those who are willing to move their activities out of the UK and into the EU. But since we have some very old dossiers, we may not have the full information as to whether the activities are mentioned earlier are actually in the UK or in the EU. And we are trying currently to cover any gaps we have in the data. So we have sent multiple emails to marketing authorization holders about this. We have been discussing the issue on medicines well, since early 2018 in different fora. So at the HMA, which is the heads of medicines agencies, and with the Commission, but also at the CMDH meetings where member states meet to discuss European procedures. And I will explain later why. From the beginning, we have always highlighted our special needs in view of the small size of Malta. and that we rely heavily on the UK market, both historically and also because of the common language for our medicinal products. Also, sometimes because of price as well, because as you know, some other member states, the price of medicines is higher. This has been highlighted from the beginning. So I want to state that, and as Leandro also said, we might have some contingency measures by the end of the year. However, we still have to be in line by the end of the year as much as we can, because we are not reassured that there will necessarily be contingency measures. So as I was saying, we had some stakeholder outreach during the past 3 years. We had communication with both the marketing authorization holders and local representatives, where we sent quarterly mail shots to all our marketing authorization holders in the UK. We have also been assisting the CPSU to try to find alternative sources, especially for critical products. And we have published Brexit guidance on the website, on our website. We have had very good one-to-one meetings with companies where we try to find solutions together as how to move activities or to find alternative products. We have had several queries about Brexit, both from local representatives and local companies and from marketing authorization holders, and we had 2 stakeholder meetings. So overall, at least from the beginning of this Brexit issue, we have had quite some progress from companies who moved their activities from the UK to the EU 27. However, we still face a challenging situation because of the high number of marketing authorizations still affected by Brexit. We are still receiving now transfers for marketing authorization holder from UK to EU 27 and variations to change other regulatory activities. And we are aware that changes have to be completed and approved by the end of the year. I will come to that later about the completed and approved. In some cases, the MHs have already communicated their intention that they will actually withdraw their marketing authorization. So they have told us that they are not interested any longer to place their products on the Maltese market. These are mainly companies with unique, which uniquely place their products on the market in the UK. So for them, it was not worth doing the regulatory activities for Malta. Some have done so, and we are very happy that some have actually moved their activities, sometimes even to Malta. From next year, obviously, we cannot accept new applications with activities in the UK. So applicants cannot be in the UK, or batch release and batch testing can no longer be in the UK. Next, I will just give you, this is only a couple of slides, just to tell you about the activities taken on from Malta, from the UK by the Maltese Medicines Authority. So for those following us who are familiar with the terminology I'm using, that is that when Malta is reference member state, we have taken 104 products from UK, for which UK was previously a reference member state. So for the small size of Malta, we have taken quite a lot of products. This is because many of these procedures included just Malta and the UK. So we had to take over, we had no choice but to take over, and we gladly took over from the UK to be reference member state. For the centrally authorized products, we have taken on additionally 4 procedures as rapporteur and 4 procedures as co-rapporteur from the UK. And this has added to our portfolio for which we are rapporteur in the centralized procedure. Now, as I mentioned before, I said that you have to be in line by the end of this year. Now, we are aware that some members of industry were sort of waiting for something to happen, and maybe we're hoping that things might change. But as said before, correctly said before, hard Brexit is now very, very likely. So what regulatory actions are going to be taken for those marketing authorizations and licenses that are not in line come 1st January 2021? Obviously, if they are not in line, potentially we will have to suspend them. However, this is being discussed currently between the member states and the European Commission. Because we don't obviously want to take certain actions that might cause out of stock and a problem with access and availability for the market. So we are trying to discuss, not just for Malta, but this for all the member states, because this will obviously have an impact on all the member states, so that perhaps we can obviously keep as many products as we can on the market. So, for example, we will not say that on the 1st of January, we will be asking for recalls for products already on the market. Products already imported before Brexit can continue to be sold, even if they are not in line. However, there will be a timeline given by the Commission for these marketing authorizations where the activities have to be moved to the EU 27. This is just to give you an idea of the problems we still have with activities only in the UK. This is for national products. So for products authorized through the national procedures, whereas you can see we have quite a number of products still with their activities only in the UK. So these next year, unless the activities are moved, we might have to suspend the license. I'm not saying in January, but these activities have to be moved to the EU 27, which includes obviously Malta. And these are for the procedures where Malta is actually reference member state. So as you can see, we have also some products that still have their activities in the UK. Now I will give a short update on the exceptional authorizations, that is the authorizations on the basis of Article 126A. So I'm not going to stay reading this. This is in the practical guidance on Brexit, which is published by the Commission. As you know, the UK will no longer, well, actually, they are no longer an EU member state, but now during the transitional period, we consider them to be still in the EU. So we are still accepting Article 126A authorizations on the basis of UK licenses. The Commission so far has made it very clear that even for these authorizations, the activities have to be in the EU. So any licenses, whilst remaining valid, they have to come in line. So we have to take action next year on any licenses, for example, with authorization holders in the UK. So also for these licenses, we have to come in line, because obviously they will be considered as products coming from third countries. And the legislation for 126A is very clear that the license issued in Malta has to be on the basis of a license authorized, a product authorized in the EU. So we cannot accept more license applications after the 31st of December. We have been communicating with RPs to try to find suitable alternatives. We have also had a reduction of fee for registration of alternatives through the same route. And we have also lately very much been engaging with companies to use the day zero MRP. So if there are any of you who are not aware of what the day zero MRP is, I can explain very shortly. So the day zero MRP, unlike the normal MRP, is a very short procedure. Obviously, the reference member state has to accept to do this procedure with Malta as the concerned member state. And we will accept whatever dossier was initially sent to the reference member state. So we accept dossiers that are not in line with the current guidelines. This has been agreed with the member state, so we have discussed this several times. So we urge you to use this procedure as much as possible. I know there are issues with this procedure. I know that there are the reference member state fees. Some RMSs are not very keen on it. So if you have any issues with this, please get to us, contact us, and we will try to help you with any discussions with the reference member state. Our issue with the 126A, obviously, because most of our products authorized in this way are originating from the UK, as said before, because of language, because of history. For the validity of the Article 126A, as I have said before, from the Q&A of the Commission, we are allowed to continue using these products, to continue importing these products. However, they have to be in line. So we are currently discussing with the Commission whether they can allow the use of this article for those products already authorized before the end of this year, even if the activities are not in the EU. We are waiting a reply from the European Commission, and we will keep you informed. But so far, the Commission have been very adamant about this. So if you can find alternative sources, it would be better. So as you know, parallel trade is based on the fact that there is the freedom of movement between member states. So parallel trade with the UK will no longer be allowed from the 1st January 2021, because obviously the United Kingdom will be a third country. Now, I'm going to mention the Northern Ireland Protocol here because this might be a possibility for trade with Malta, because obviously Northern Ireland for pharmaceuticals will be considered as an EU member state in the terms that it will have to abide by the EU acquis. So all goods entering Northern Ireland from outside the EU will have to undergo the same procedures and controls as goods entering a member state. So, so the UK will have the regulatory requirements for the UK, but the regulatory requirements for Northern Ireland will be in line with the EU acquis. So all goods produced and marketed in Northern Ireland will have to comply with EU standards. So how this will be implemented in practice is still being discussed with the different parties, the European Commission, the other member states. I mentioned it here with parallel imports because obviously parallel imports with Northern Ireland will be possible. I will not get into this, but with regards to the NI protocol as well, if the activities mentioned before, like the marketing authorization holder, batch release site, batch testing site are in the territory of Northern Ireland, they can be considered as being in the EU. The same for parallel trade. Obviously, intellectual property rights, then there are different requirements. So you might have to check that with the agency responsible for intellectual property. Again, GMP certificates issued by the UK authorities, issued by the MHRA after the transition period will be considered as GMP certificates coming from a third country, unless obviously in the future there will be a mutual recognition agreement with the EU, like there is with Switzerland, with Canada, but so far there isn't one, because there have not been any negotiations in this regard, at least with regards to medicine so far. So they will be considered as a third country in terms of GMP certificates. So this is the Q&A. I have put the source here for you. So, which means as well that as at the end of the transition period, medicinal products shipped from the UK to the EU will be considered as imported from a third country. So, which is why we mentioned before that they have to be batch released and batch tested in an EU 27 member state. Now, obviously, since the companies which had been inspected by the MHRA have now to be inspected by the other member states, there's going to be a lot of work for the member states to inspect all the manufacturing companies inspected by the MHRA in all the third countries, such as India, China, etc. So not to create a backlog for these companies to be able to market in the EU, obviously we are going to be accepting, it's at our discretion, of course, at the member state discretion, to accept any GMP certificates granted by the UK, as long as they don't change the requirements, obviously, to be able to allow for these companies to still manufacture for the Maltese and the EU market. Until, obviously, a new supervisory authority is in place to start inspecting these sites, both in the UK and in other third countries. We are also collaborating with other agencies about the implications of the Brexit on the availability for Malta. We are organizing bilateral meetings with each member state to try to facilitate the use of the day zero MRP. As I mentioned before, the RMS fees sometimes charged by other countries are quite hefty. So I understand that for Malta it's a problem, this because of the size of our country, and also the RMS and Malta documentation requirements. We are very, very flexible with regards to the requirements for this procedure. And we will also not raise any questions about the dossier and the assessment report of the reference member state. This we have discussed with the reference member state, so they are aware of the situation. And we have published information about the day zero procedure on our website, and I have put the link here. So with regards to the way forward, we keep encouraging companies to use joint packs. Obviously, with the UK, there is a time limit for it, but we will continue to accept joint packs with the UK as long as the UK do not change their legislation. So as long as the UK packs remain in line with the EU acquis. The Commission is also aware of this. So we will continue to accept joint packs. Obviously, the joint packs have to be in line with the EU acquis, not in line with the UK legislation. Also in terms of the activities I mentioned before, like the marketing authorization holder, batch release, batch testing, etc. We also encourage multi-country, multi-language packs. So consider having joint packs with other member states. We are discussing this also at EU level at the coordination group meeting, which is held with the other member states. And we have now published some practical guidelines. So for European procedures, engage with us early so that we can discuss with the reference member state and other concerned member states in the DCP and the MRP, so that we can, from the beginning, encourage the use of this multi-language pack. I know some member states don't accept multi-language packs, but if we start the discussions early on in the procedure, there is more chance that we will come to a conclusion, to a successful conclusion by the end of the procedure. And I have put a link here to the multi-language packaging guideline. So what do you have to do from your side? You have to continue to push companies for moving regulatory activities. So if you have to send transfers and variations, please do so at your earliest. Batch testing sites and batch release sites are available in Malta, so we can also, use Maltese sites to do these activities. You have to try pushing companies to include Malta now prospectively in European procedures to avoid the use of Article 126A. And if you need any information from us or assistance from us to facilitate dialogue, both with the companies and with other member states, please contact us. We will be very happy to have meetings. We have had several meetings actually, which were successful with other member states to have successful marketing authorizations using European procedures. So please do contact us and we will try to facilitate. I think that was all from my end. I've put some links here for the documents. And if you have any questions, apart from the questions we can discuss here at this forum, to our licensing mailbox. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very, very much, Ms. Vella. Will it be possible to make the slides available to participants?
Yes, sure.
Yes, okay. Then I'll be happy to pass those on myself. Thank you for helping us navigate this upcoming minefield and all of the complications which come with it. If anybody has any questions at this stage, you're very welcome, or we can all save them for the end. Okay, let's move on to Ingrid Borch. The floor is yours.
So, thank you. I have opted not to give a presentation, so that I prefer questions, and so that anything specific I can answer may be better. So, however, I would like to point out 4 main points which, in general, all operators which will be affected by Brexit will have to take into account. So the first one is that their role in the distribution chain will change. So if a company is currently buying from within the UK, Currently, it is considered as a distributor for the European legislation. However, come Brexit, this company will then be considered as an importer. So the role that the company will have will change, and this will include a change in obligations. So, for example, if the product which is being imported does not contain a new address, there might be the need of a new address on the label, so a change in label. If it's not coming from any other EU member state, then the Maltese company would have to include its contact details on that particular label. Something else, for certain areas, like for example, cosmetics, food, they require a responsible person to be available. So even the label, even the address on the label should contain a responsible person within the EU. So if currently that address is from the UK, obviously it would have to change. This would also mean in certain instances where a registration or a notification procedure is in place. Let me continue with the example of a cosmetic. The notification would have to be redone because there's going to be a change in label due to the change in address and responsible person. So this would have to be performed again. Something which Mr. Porch also mentioned in the beginning is the recertification. And in our case, this is particularly important with respect to notified bodies. So certain products, especially those which require the CE marking, in certain areas, you would need a third party to verify that that particular product is in compliance with the legislation. These third parties are usually known as notified bodies. Now, there are various companies within the EU which provide this service. Obviously, from come January, we will not be able to utilize the services of those companies within the UK. The majority of the notified bodies have transferred their current portfolios to other notified bodies within the EU27. However, it's also within your interest to verify that the products you are buying are originating from a notified body within the 27 countries. So one easy method, all this information is available on our website. So, but obviously feel free to contact us directly. However, one method which can be used to verify this is to check the number near the CE marking if it relates to an EU or a UK notified body. So I think that those are the main issues which operators would have to look at. Something else regarding the placing on the market, because even Ms. Vella mentioned it. So products which are already on the market prior to Brexit will be able to be sold normally and continue to be placed on the market. Even if a product has been ordered, so there has been a promise of sale in that area, it will be considered as being placed on the market. This relates to the single product, so not the whole batch which is still coming over or which is still have to be produced, but only that singular item which is already on the market or which has already been sold to the person and just maybe coming, is being shipped maybe later on. I don't know if there is any specific questions because as you might know, MCCAA deals with various products. So I tried to be very general because each area obviously would have different rules.
Somebody from the own turf want to pose a specific question or challenge or difficulty? Okay. Go on, Ms. Borg.
Okay, so regarding the change in hectares, as I said, this is one of the most important item which the companies would have to look into it. Certain responsibilities are not only related to changing the label or placing the address of the Maltese company on the label. However, they also deal with the responsibility of how safe the product is. And that would mean that the Maltese company would have to have dossiers in place, access to information from their supplier, which would have to be at hand to show that the product is really safe and the product is conforming with the applicable legislation. So it's not only a matter of changing an address or like, okay, I'm responsible for that particular product, but also having all the information at hand. This is maybe one of the most challenging parts, because manufacturers are not always happy to provide that information. So agreements between the manufacturers or the companies in the UK and the Maltese companies would have to be in place so that the Maltese companies have actually this information at their end. For example, I'm trying to think of a general, okay, so for example, food products. Food products, you would also need to have information on allergens. So it's not only what's written on the label, but assurance that the products have been manufactured according to HACCP requirements, and that any risk of contamination has been reduced and is at a minimum, and that you have all the information and tests available at your end to correlate with that. I believe I have a question. So maybe it's better if I read the question. So just to clarify, so anything food and drinking coming from the UK must have an EU address and contact person on the packaging. The address does not have to be in Malta, please clarify. So the EU legislation states that all food and drink items have to have an EU address on the packaging. Now, if currently that address is from a company within the UK, obviously come January that will not be allowed anymore. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a Maltese address as long as it is an EU address. So any country within the other 27 member states. I don't know if that was clear for Mr. McAuliffe. So as long as it is an EU address within the other 27 member states, not necessarily Malta. Okay, so regarding the re-notification of certain products, so as in the case of cosmetics, cosmetics need to be notified the first time that they are being placed on the market. It's an EU system, and it is done on an online portal, and it is performed once when the product enters the EU market. So, give an example. If the product is in the EU market because it entered the market on the first time through the UK, currently it did not need to be re-notified again if it's entering Malta, because it has already been notified through the UK. Come January, that notification will not be valid anymore, and it will need to be re-notified either by the Maltese company or else by any one of the other companies within any one of the other 27 member states. So my advice would be to contact your supplier and ask if any other member state has notified the particular product, yes or no. One of the issues regarding the re-notification would be, as linked to the label, is the change in address. If you're changing the address, you will be changing the label, and the system states that if you are changing to the label, you will have to re-notify. So it's a domino effect, and you will have to check that too. So regarding notified bodies and certification, I have explained. So in a nutshell, I think that was mainly everything the main points that I wanted to point out. As explained, all information is currently updated on our website, and it is specific to each section. So there's a section on motor vehicles, a section on food, a section on marine equipment. So all specific products have their own section, and Brexit rules are included over there as well.
Thank you very, very much, Ms. Borch. Unless there are any further questions, I think I can point out that we will have our next session on Brexit on the 30th of this month, on the 30th of November. At the same time, we'll be focusing on VAT and company and fiscal law. If there are no other questions, thank you once again to Mr. Leandro Borch. Yes, Ingrid.
I believe there's another question regarding food supplements.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, so the question is, with regards to food supplements, in case a product is currently being purchased from the UK and say it's not marketed anywhere else in the UK, we have to assume responsibility as responsible person for this product. So regarding food supplements, currently the legislation states that all products entering the Maltese market would have to be notified. So irrespective or further, they are already on another in another member state. So in reality, you would have to notify that product either or. So if it's already notified with us, it's fine. You won't have to do anything unless you will have to change the UK address. You will, if the address is within the UK, then yes, you will have to you have to place your address on that particular product.
Thank you, Ms. Borch. I see there's now a question for Helen as well.
Yes. It's okay. I will read the question. What about FMD and UK products which are on the market on the 31st December? So for any products that are brought into Malta before the 31st December, they can continue to be sold. So that is even in line for, what we had said before, to stockpile, so that to avoid problems with accessibility. So any products brought into Malta can continue to be sold as long as it is available. So whichever comes earliest, whether it's the expiry date or the stock finishes, basically. So yes, anything that comes into Malta before 31st December can continue to be sold. Anything that comes from the UK after the 31st December is considered an import, which is why, as I said before, it has to be batch tested and batch released in the EU then. If you have any issues about any particular products, especially if critical, let us know and we will discuss. Regarding FMD, I'm not sure what Andrew means. FMD for UK products.
You want to elaborate, Mr. Paris? Maybe not.
So anything that comes into Malta, wherever it's coming from, should be in line with the Falsified Medicines Directive. So whether it's from the UK and from any other EU member state, it has to be in line. It already has to be in line. It has nothing to do with Brexit. So, which is why I was asking whether it's specific to UK products or a more general question.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Faris? And Mr. Malia, do you have a question? I see you've told us hi. Okay. We were told that till the end of 2021, we could still have the English export pack. This is needed since the companies will not be able to stock all. So if the medicine was released in the UK prior to 31st December, it has not reached Malta yet?
So yes, for the question by Mr. Kakia, yes, if anything was already batch released in the UK, which is considered right now during the transitional period as being in the EU, was batch released before the 31st December, it can continue to be brought into Malta, yes. And for the Master, I'm not sure what he means, but you were told that until the end of 2021, you could still have the English export pack. I'm saying if the product was batch released before the 31st of December in the UK, it can continue to be brought into Malta. So it ties in with the question of Mr. Kaki as well, I think, if I'm understanding correctly. So even if the expiry date is beyond 2021, it can continue to be sold. I'm not sure whether I'm maybe understanding Mr. Malia's question.
I think so, by the looks of it. Let's see, Mr. Galaxy Note. Will the UK still be uploading FMD info into the database? So will UK products still continue to be found within the database?
I believe that this is still being discussed. UK obviously will not have the requirement to upload into the European database. However, for products that are going to Northern Ireland, they will have to upload them in any case. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but if you have any specific questions, you can send them by email and we will check exactly with respect to the European, to the ENVO. What can happen is that if something is going, for example, from Germany to UK and then coming to Malta, we could, like, the product would not have to be decommissioned. So the product coming, that's part of the stock coming Germany, UK, Malta, does not have to be decommissioned, so that then it is decommissioned here, because if it is decommissioned in the UK, it will be out of the system. So any small stock from that going to the UK should not be decommissioned into the UK, but decommissioned in Malta.
Thank you, Ms. Vella. We have another question in the chat. May I remind you to use the Q&A for questions. I'm going to read out what was posted. Can you please clarify regarding Article 126A holders that are UK entities, please? We were told in the past that such Article 126A authorizations will still remain valid after Brexit until validity.
Okay, so yes, the Q&A from the Commission says that the licenses can remain valid, but there is a but, because the activities have to be in the EU. So, which is why I said in my presentation that we are trying to negotiate with the Commission whether we can accept these 126As, obviously granted before the end of this year, if the activities are not in the EU, because the Q&A of the Commission right now is very clear that the holder of the authorization, the batch release site, the batch testing site, etc., have to be in EU 27. So about that, we are still discussing. But so far, the Commission has always said that the activities have to be in the EU.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Vella. Once again, we have another question. So, if a product was batch released in the UK prior to December 2020? Can one still import them from the UK in 2021?
Yes, if the product was batch released before in the UK, before the end of December, basically. Yes, because the batch release was done before the actual end of the transitional period.
There's a lot of relieved people hearing this right now.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, I think we've reached the end of the road. Yes, thank you. Mr. Borch, would you like to make any closing remarks?
No, not from my end, but obviously if there are any questions and or there are any other members that were not present today and would like to get in touch, you posted the contact details and they can call us or email us anytime and we'll make sure to consult our experts and revert with the details. So that's it. Thank you again for your organization, and I hope we meet some more participants in the last session, so we can discuss the final issues on taxation and company law. And well, again, thank you, Malta Chamber, and thank you for the presentations given by Ms. Vella and Ms. Borch. And thank you everyone for your participation.
Okay, I'll redirect everybody once again to our final event on the 30th of November, where you can find the link in the chat available at the moment. I see that you're probably going to have a few more questions come up, Mr. Alistair Kakia, but I advise you for now to get in touch with the contact information we've provided. So if anything comes to mind, as our colleagues here have made clear, you can get in touch at any point. Thank you once again to everybody, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.